Welcome back to Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We apologize for some of the technical difficulties you may be experiencing while watching the stream here on the Cable and Racing Network, but we continue our coverage. Contact behind the leader. Michael Newbraw goes sideways in front of a bunch of lap cars, and I'm not sure whether the caution will wave. It has not. Now it does. CJ Munier and Michael Newbraw make contact, and it's our first caution of the race from Las Vegas.
And you see a car parked in the middle of the racetrack there, Kenneth. That's 53 DeLeon cars are still coming at speed, having to take avoiding action and hill toe. That is the night over for the 53. Michael Newbraw involved in that as well. We'll get the replay here, and it starts right here just behind your race leader who had a 4-second lead on his teammate, and that's going to get erased. It looks like there's contact. It looks like Munier gets the wall, and just behind them, looks like D'Elia and the 6 of Newbraw make some contact, trying to avoid the 89 who got into the wall. So we'll see here. It looks like, yeah, D'Elia comes down the racetrack, hopefully trying to avoid the 89, and in the process gets into Newbraw, spins them out. That brings out our first caution of the race, Kenneth, here on lap 95, and this is definitely a break that driver Lawson Peel needed. Of course, during the technical difficulties, he had a pit road speeding penalty entering pit road, and that has him trapped a lap down.
You saw Curtis Kelly get involved, and D'Elia with heavy front-end damage. 2 Skybox Toyota Supras involved in that. Look at the bare miss there by Travis Anderson. It's a mix of lead lap and lapped cars in the mix. Jesse Prees barely getting around. There's Lawson Peel, who talked about Francisco. Him and Ethan Fonseca Moreno and Luke Knupp all came in pit road, and the 12 car was right on the back bumper and almost spun the car around and was a little too fast entering. But like you said, it's a big break for him. Hopefully he could probably get his lap back and be able to put himself back in this race. But the leaders are on pit road. The 45 is going to lead them in on lap 96. And this should, Francisco, get the field to the end of the race.
It should. So we'll see if there's any cautions late in the race. Who decides tires are going to be worth it. But this is a huge break for Ethan, Kenneth, who was 4 seconds behind the leader, and exiting pit road is going to be a tight one. It looks like Ethan will take the race lead.
The 43 surges out ahead, and Moreno takes the lead for the first time tonight, outright from his teammate. Patrick Thompson, I believe, is going to stay out, and so we're going to question whether he comes in. 12-lap old tires for the pole sitter. But Ethan Fonseca Moreno, the San Jose, California driver, is going to take over the lead here at lap 96 at a 14.2 second pit stop. That was almost half a second faster, Francisco, than his teammate at 14.9, or rather more than half a second. And Eric Schaefer files into third, Kyle Benson fourth, and AJ Green fifth out of the pit lane.
And this gives these guys new life as well. They were well far behind the top 2, and this will give them an opportunity to try and see if they can challenge for a top spot. And look just behind them, the 28 of Jaden Porter has gotten into the top 10, and he now runs in a pretty solid spot. So he's had a good night in the works for him. He's had to work hard for it, but now he runs solidly inside the top 10.
Looking for his best finish since Nashville, where he finished inside the top 10, and it's an 8th place start for Jaden Porter. When we go back to green, it's a stack up behind Jesse Prees, who's had a great night. AJ Green, who's been the best Stonks Motorsports car of the evening by far. Craig Lautenslager and Austin Reedy rounding out the top 10. And I guess this is the second week in a row, Francisco, that we talk about the driver of the 34 making his way through the field. He started tonight in 31st. He did sort of the same deal at Phoenix 1 week ago, so it's same tricks being used by Austin Reedy, and it gets him in a favorable position for some points in crunch time.
It does, and you look a little bit further behind, Colin Forrester's also there as well, Kenneth. And Colin Forrester missed the first 2 races, was involved in that crash really early in the race with Mikey Neal at Phoenix, so this driver desperately needs points, Kenneth, because as of now, he's in a huge playoff hole deficit.
The Jacksonville, Florida native looking for his second straight win at Las Vegas. Last time we were here under the lights, it was that 99 car visiting Victory Lane with the next-gen cars. But for Forrester, still a rather tall order as Patrick Thompson will stay out. But on around 14 lap old tires. So Francisco, is this the right call for Thompson? He wants that track position but the tires are not going to be in his favor, and it's not like he's got some old tire cars around him. He's got all fresh rubbered machines surrounding him when we get to the green.
And he also doesn't have enough fuel to get to the end of the race, so it's not like he can stay out, save some fuel, and get to the end, Kenneth. He certainly cannot make the checkered flag and with the current fuel he has in that race car. So I'm not sure what the goal is with this strategy, but we saw him at the start of the race from the pole with equal tires not exactly get it going. So if you're Luke Knupp, you certainly have that in the back of your mind since you got the lead off of the 88 not being able to get going. You have to be thinking about that here on this restart because that could allow the outside lane to gain several positions on you, and you don't want to fall back too much because if you're Luke Knupp, you know exactly how fast your teammate's been. If you let him get out in front, it's going to be tough to go get him and pass him.
It's going to be the first time all night long that the 45 car gets a restart in dirty air. So that also might be a consideration as well. Luke Knupp has spent a majority of this race at the very front of the field, having the cleanest air out of anyone in the race. And so as he starts behind the old tire car of Patrick Thompson, can he overcome the obstacles and get by his teammate and bring this one home? Pace car is down. The 88 of Thompson, the pole sitter tonight, will lead them to green on 15-lap old tires. We're back underway from Las Vegas.
And it's actually a pretty decent launch for the 88. He does get clear, and Ethan Fonseca also gets clear of Luke Knupp, but the difference will be spotted here as they go to turns 1 and 2. The 88 just will not have the grip, and Luke Knupp all over the back bumper of his teammate.
You look to the inside of the 43 on board with Knupp entering the third corner. And you'll have the space. The 43 will give it to him, but he knows that there's old tires on the inside that might stack up the field. Knupp is way loose at the exit of turn 4, and he's going to keep it collected. He'll dart towards the apron and gets to the inside of his teammate nonetheless.
And we saw that happen during green flag pit stops last week, Kenneth. That's what allowed the 45 to go around and spin, and it cost him a shot at the win. So nearly happens once again, but this time on a restart. Now he's racing the 43 for second. They both have still not gotten past the 88. Now the 43 looks to the bottom, and this should be the pass made, Kenneth, and exactly so. Ethan Fonseca to the lead.
A great job, though, by Patrick Thompson to hold out in front of these two for the first 2 laps of that restart. And here comes the 45, not wasting any time. He looks at his watch and said, I got time today. But I guess that time has already run out. The 45 to the inside for the race lead. Eric Schaefer to the inside on Thompson for third.
And the 43 is not giving up. He's trying to stay on the outside of Knupp here as they go back to turn 3. They're battling very aggressively, Kenneth, but if your teammates like this, you can't get too caught up in battle. You don't want to ruin the night for each other, especially when you know a team member of the organization you're battling for in the Owners' Championship is right behind you in the 3-car of Eric Schaefer.
And the DBR teammates that were the 3 of Schaefer and the 12 of Lawson Peel, that's gone away, but the replacement is the 00 of Jesse Prees. He's in the fight for 5th right now with Benson. He wins that fight. He goes to the inside of Patrick Thompson, make his way to 4th. Looks like further back, Austin Reedy, AJ Green, they're going at it for 7th, and all the battles starting to accumulate. You're at lap 102 as the race lead fight continues to turns 1 and 2. And Knupp not giving this one up at all to the backstretch.
And the 43 has been using that outside lane and to be able to keep the momentum. At some point, you'd think he could get clear, but he doesn't want to stay running that line every single lap, Kenneth, because that could hurt him. So if you're Ethan, you either have to get clear for the lead or clear for second. And I think he wants this lead because he's once again using that outside to try and pull away, but Knupp will not let him. They're still battling very hard for the race lead, and that's allowed Eric Schaefer to just sit there and watch.
A look on board with the Hampton, Virginia native. We talked about his runs as of the last 3 weeks. 2 third-place finishes and 1 fourth-place finish coming last week at Phoenix Raceway. And Eric Schaefer looking for what would be his 3rd podium of the season. But we know deep down he wants those 2 spots that's right up ahead of him. But Moreno and Knupp, as far as they've been battling, they have not lost time. They are still considerably faster than the driver in 3rd as we're 3 wide entering turn 1. Daniel Michel on the very bottom.
And this is an aggressive move inside the top 10, all in an effort to get past that 88 of Patrick Thompson, who's starting to fall back on those slightly older tires. But yes, Kenneth, they are not losing time right now, but it certainly won't help their tire life, which if this race goes green, remember, it's essentially a fuel run. You want to have tire life at the end of the run.
And we talked about on that last stop how it will get these guys to the very end of the race, but you're right. As long as we don't get a caution, this is going to be about long-term pace. And we've seen the 45 and the 43 be some of the best drivers in that long run. And who did they beat on their way to the second round of green flag stops? The driver of the 3, Eric Schaefer. Could he have learned his lessons and keep pace with your top 2 as Kyle Benson darts forward? He looks to the inside. Apries will slide up in the middle of 3 and 4. And that position will not be decided quite yet to the stripe. Lap 107 as Ethan Fonseca Moreno keeps the 45 of Canup at bay for now. Not sure how long that'll last, though.
And this is a battle for a driver looking for his first win and another driver looking for his second win in the series. So these two are new to the series, new to winning races here, Kenneth. But 2 weeks in a row, both of them giving us some great battles as now Canup goes back to the bottom, misses the apron, but they stay racing off the corner and stay pulling away from Schaefer.
Common denominator between these top 2 is that they are bearing the rookie stripes on the back end of their race cars. They are new to this series, and it looks like they are veterans as they are stomping on the field right now and will approach the final 26 laps. Here from Las Vegas, Nevada, car near the outside wall in the background. That was Daniel Michel in a fight with AJ Green for a spot inside the top 6. And the 43 is going to hold that 45 close to him, but still in that rear view mirror. Will cross the line for lap 109. And we know, Francisco, the story with Luke Canup. With Moreno, he's been finishing well over the last couple of races. Even though Nashville did end up in a crash on the back straightaway, we know how good he's been. But for Luke Canup, he's got a chip on his shoulder. Last week at Phoenix should have been his race, but for him it was the one that got away. And this one he's looking to redeem himself as he inches closer to the 43, but to no avail and some lap traffic up front.
We talked to him after Nashville, Kenneth, and he said he felt comfortable in the clean air once he got past that 12 car, and he probably is thinking that exact same thing right now. If he can get past his teammate, he feels he can get out there and pull away for the race win. They have to deal with some lap traffic here eventually, and where you catch them is going to be important. We've seen that in every race so far. When and where you catch lap traffic is going to play a factor. These damaged cars, Kenneth, they're so much slower than if you were to catch them like they did in the previous run, that it makes it all the more dangerous.
CJ Munier, driver of the 89, you just saw there, one of the members of the Drinkin' Bros Racing team. And here is Lawson Peel off of that pit road speeding penalty. With that caution, did get his lap back, but he is trapped in 22nd place. And as long as this race goes green, it will not go his way in terms of this, and he will lose a lot of points. He's the points leader going into tonight's race with all of the great finishes he's picked up over the last 3. Tonight will be his worst finish since I'm pretty sure Nashville at that point. Not Nashville, that should be Auto Club. Oh no, Nashville. It will be Nashville and it will be Phoenix. Second place in both of those races. I apologize for that. I'm all over the place. Yeah, first, second. His worst finish is right behind the race winner, which is not bad at all.
That's a good stat to have, but you definitely don't want this one being the next one. You obviously would prefer it if the worst finish would maybe end up being third after tonight, but it won't look that way for the driver at the 12th. He'll need a miracle to be able to make that one work out. Of course, we had the technical difficulties when it happened, Kenneth, but you and I were watching it when it occurred, and both him and Nup had a very aggressive entry on the pit road. Both had the rear end kicking out, and we both wondered, did they both speed on pit road? We saw tires go up for the 45 and not for the 12, and that's how we knew that there was a penalty for the driver in Lawson Peel. And it's definitely hurt his race because you definitely saw that Lawson Peel was as fast as your two teammates that were leading this race.
It's a tough break for the driver of the 12. That little mistake under green cost his entire race. And if we've had cautions, and maybe you could tell the story a different way, in the sense that Lawson Peel could come down pit road with the field under yellow, won't have to worry about speeding on pit road, but it's a costly mistake there for Peel. We'll see if he can crack the top 20 and at least muster some decent points out of this one. But on the other end, we're looking at a driver who's getting his best finish of the year if he stays here at the moment. Top 10 building for Colin Forrester. Jacksonville, Florida native who won this race last season has not been able to find a break after missing the first 2 races and then coming up empty with a big crash at Phoenix early in the going. And So the Aaron's Dream Machine in the 99 finally able to break the curse for now. He's getting his best finish in Season 6 by far as he tries to go against Daniel Michel for 7th.
And Austin Reedy's hoping to also have a really good finish going for him, Kenneth. So a lot of guys are having the runs that they need at this point in the season to help themselves in the points, get back into that points battle. It's a long regular season, Kenneth, but it always ends up feeling shorter than what it actually is, because before you know it, you start getting down to those last couple of races and you see your gaps and you start telling yourself, wow, I really need all these points that maybe at these previous races I could have been able to get. So it's all a big points battle, and these guys have to be aware of that the entire way through, because you don't want to find yourself at Talladega in the cutoff race having to find points, because you don't want to go to a super speedway having a points race.
And you also can't afford rough races either in that sense, because before we used to talk about that playoff winner you're in scenario, and yeah, points did matter if you didn't win a race, but if you did, then you didn't have to worry about anything. So guys like Lawson Peel, in a situation like this, if it were a playoff win-and-in situation, Peel wouldn't have to worry about this 22nd place finish if he stays there, or a beneath the top 20 finish if he continues going in this direction with 18 to go. He would just be locked in, and he wouldn't really have to care all too much about Las Vegas. He can forget about it and then just focus on the rest of the season and getting more wins to his credit. But now that we have a point system that develops over the entire season, a battle race like this can set you in the wrong direction very quickly. And how many times, Francisco, have we seen in real NASCAR where a driver has a string of bad races and all of a sudden a favorable championship position turns into a dismal one with their back against the wall heading towards the postseason? So for tough finishes week in and week out, you have to consider that in the grand scheme of things. And also good strings of races, bad strings of races, that might come into the foreground as well, as Ethan Fonseca Moreno leads this race and has pulled away from his teammate. About 3/10 separate the two BBR teammates as Daniel Michel significantly strikes the outside wall out of 2.
He's going to lose a little bit of ground, gets passed by the 48 of AJ Green. Colin Forster will look to the inside to see if he can capitalize on that. Once again, another car strikes the wall off of turn 2, Kenneth. Not much damage on the 25. It's not as bad as with the previous damage model. You could possibly damage the suspension a little bit, which isn't great, but the aerodynamics shouldn't be too disturbed with that kind of contact anymore. So the 25 should be okay. It's contact with Colin Forster and into the wall. Michel hard.
The 25 pancakes the outside wall, and I was about to talk about his good finish. And the 25 goes hard into the wall and will take it down to the apron. His car limping to the entrance of pit road. That will not cause a caution with 15 laps to go. And what a strike that was for Michel. He hit the outside wall out of turn 2 the last lap. And here's contact with Colin Forster to pit him into the wall again.
And Forster got the wall as well, Kenneth. He got the wall pretty decent as well. There you see him. That's the 25 of Michel there. But Forster, he ran the bottom, Kenneth, and I think he might have hit one of those bumps there in 1 and 2, and that's what sent him up into the 25. And there you see right now the 45 of Luke Canup battling with a lap car. I believe that's the 76 of Tony Kivet, as Ethan Fonseca is starting to pull away, and that's actually the 18 car right there of Richard Rico between these leaders. And he's actually on newer tires. He pitted under the green flag, so he's getting past some of these lead cars, and now Luke Canup is under fire from Eric Schaefer for the second spot.
And Eric Schaefer starting to pressure the 45 as the lap car right in front definitely made headlines in terms of the gap, because now it's built up to around 0.6 of a second. Weren't expecting that situation to really happen there, but for the 45, it's going to have a little more work to do as the time expires, and this would hurt probably more for Canup than last week did, because at least last week he was able to muster a 5th place finish despite the fact that he got into a huge crash and we considered him out of the race entirely. But to finish second to his teammate in Moreno and trying to redeem himself after Phoenix, this one definitely would hurt a little more. But for Ethan Fonseca Moreno, he is now 11 laps away from his first career 4Wide Racing TJ's Team Series victory.
And these two, Kenneth, they're on Discord very often. They've built a chemistry with themselves. Ethan actually had recruited the 45 of Luke Canup over to the team for the 4Wide Racing Series, and he was definitely very happy to have him on board. He knows what kind of driver the 45 is, and they've proved it. Both of them have been very fast in the races they've showed up in, and they're definitely giving themselves reasons to be early season contenders for this championship. And here's Trevor Haley, Kenneth, who's also another rookie with a really solid run. He's inside the top 10, hoping to be able to finish there. And also in the top 5, Kenneth, the 0 of Jesse Prees, a really strong night. Hasn't made a lot of noise, but he's been top 5 all night.
He has to play some defense near the end of this race, because here's the 48 of AJ Green, the 34 of Austin Reedy might find their way to the inside as Prees will hold the middle here in the final 2 corners. And looks like AJ Green will put the nose down there, so we'll have an official side-by-side bout for the top 5 and almost make it 3 wide with Austin Reedy in the background. But you're right, for Prees and for Haley, these are career races right now for both of them, especially for the driver of the 4. He just is about to lose this spot to Craig Lounslager. They're going at it really roughly for 8th. But for Haley, this would be a great finish in his young career in this series, and finished inside the top 12 at Phoenix despite the problems that came over him. Really good stuff, and being able to come back from adversity. And makes the contact there with the 13 of Lounslager as Jaden Porter hangs out in the background. Will cross the line for 8 laps to go. The gap between your leaders sits at 1.4 seconds. 43 is starting to pull away by a landslide, and Schaefer's made his way to 2nd.
That's true, you're right. The 3 car has moved his way up to 2nd, and now Luke Canup is starting to fall back on this long run. There you see the 42, Christopher Bishop, on newer tires, is getting by this group. And if Luke Canup is not careful, Kenneth, he could be under fire from Kyle Benson for the 3rd spot. So the 45 fading on this long run. I'm not sure the 3 has enough time to get up there to your race leader, Kenneth, but if you're Ethan Fonseca, you certainly don't want to see a caution flag right now.
You do not. As the 34 goes to the inside in the background on AJ Green. Or rather, that was Jesse Prees, so this is behind AJ Green. Austin Reedy will get into the top 6 for the first time tonight. But you're right there for Moreno. Last thing he wants to see is Barney the Flagman getting a flag that is not the white nor the checkered. And we'll come across to 6 laps to go. So time is running out for Eric Schaefer, who's now a 2.5 off the race leader as we look at Kyle Benson in the 38. And what a pickup from last week this would be for Benson. He got into that incident with Canup, and while Canup was able to get his car repaired and continued on to the end of the race to finish 5th, Benson did not have the same luck. Unfortunately, ended up finishing beneath the top 20, ended up 24th with all of the damage he accrued on his Cheez-Its Ford Mustang. So tonight, even if it's not the best finish, 4th is way better than what happened at Phoenix, and he'll take it.
This is one of those runs by Kyle Benson, Kenneth, that you probably won't think about immediately when you hear Kyle Benson's name called, but it's what makes Kyle Benson himself. He'll have one of these nights where he'll just run quietly in the top 5 or 10, and he'll get the points he needs just to keep himself afloat and keep himself in the battle and the long run. And Kyle Benson is a longtime veteran of this series. He's made the championship 5 several times. Kenneth has not been able to win that championship, but he's certainly one of the consistent drivers that's always up in the front, and you always have to think about as far as a contender in the series. He's always a threat at any time. Can go find victory lane. So Kyle Benson, another strong run here tonight. And as we're approaching 3 laps to go, Kenneth, I have to think, because I don't know this stat, if it's true or not, but have we ever had an international winner in the 4-wide racing series?
I don't think we have. I think all of the winners in 4-wide history to date have all been American drivers. But for Ethan Fonseca Moreno, at least he would become the first Mexican driver to win a race in this series, and would be the 2nd Bacalhau Bueno Racing driver to win a race this season, after Luke Canup had it just a couple of weeks ago at Nashville Superspeedway. He'll take the outside lane and give lap car Timothy Cook the right-of-way on the fresh tires, and he will only have 3 more miles remaining from Las Vegas, Nevada. The gap remains to Eric Schaefer at 1.5 seconds, so as long as a caution doesn't come out, and if the 43 doesn't suffer anything catastrophic, this race is his to lose.
And the gap sits at just almost a 1.5 to Eric Schaefer, Kenneth, who's looking to have his 4th top 5 in a row to start the season, which has been good enough for him, Kenneth. But for Ethan Fonseca, he's had some good runs. He's shown good speed before, and out of turn 4, he's looking to take the white flag There's 1 lap to go from Las Vegas. The gap stays at about a second and a half back to the 3-car. Luke Knupp is down in 3rd. He looks to have gotten going again. But for Ethan Fonseca, Kenneth, he's from California. He's out in the West Coast, performed at Auto Club, performed at Phoenix last week, and here at Las Vegas to round out the West Coast swing is looking to do what he has not done in the 4Wide Racing Cup Series, is win a race. A dominant driver on PlayStation 3, a dominant driver on iRacing as well. Ethan Fonseca is going to get his first 4Wide Racing Series win at Las Vegas.
Ethan Fonseca Moreno finally gets to the checkered flag first. And for the 3rd time in the last 4 races, we have a driver that absolutely stands out amongst the rest and is able to get to the checkered flag by a large margin. Eric Schaefer comes home 2nd, Luke Knupp in 3rd. He's the 2nd rookie driver to get to victory lane. There's his teammate, Jaden Porter, to give him some congratulations, and deservingly so. And they'll spin him around, I guess, for good measure. And the 43 with a bit of damage will bring his Chevrolet Camaro to the front straightaway. Luke Knupp giving him all the credits. What a race these two had, Francisco. I mean, absolutely phenomenal racing between these two. And for the first time in his 4Wide Racing career, Ethan Fonseca Moreno will celebrate and will head to Paul's Setup Shop Victory Lane.
Definitely one of the tracks that he had circled on his calendar, and us as his team owners definitely as well, Kenneth. We expected him to come out here at Las Vegas and be competitive, and he definitely was tonight. He was at least one of the 2 dominant cars alongside with his teammate. Both of them for the 2nd week in a row have had really fast cars, Kenneth, and this is the 2nd win for that team this season. Luke Knupp, once again with a strong outing, is definitely going to help them in the points and in the owner standings. But for Ethan, Kenneth, his first win, and it comes at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. He's going to enjoy that one, and I'm sure he's excited to get ready to talk to us about it and kind of describe how his night went, because outside of that 1 caution flag, Kenneth, it was mostly a green race, and he was up in the top 2 almost the entirety of the race.
And he never gave up in that last run. That was a test of skill, a test of endurance, and he was able to win it outright over his teammate Luke Knupp and the Drinkin' Bros Racing Chevrolet of Eric Schaefer. The 43 of Ethan Fonseca Moreno visits victory lane here at Las Vegas and becomes the 4th different driver to win a race in the last 4 races. So the first 4 races of the season. Last time that happened was season 4, where Reedy, Peel, Mark Harris, and AJ Green won the first 4 races of the season. The 43 celebrates here in Sin City. Let's take a look at the unofficial results here from the first 1.5-mile race of Season 6. Ethan Fonseca Moreno wins his first career 4Wide Racing TJ's Team Series race. He'll have Eric Schaefer behind him by 1.5 seconds. The 4th straight week that Eric Schaefer lands on the podium. Luke Knupp will take over 3rd. Kyle Benson with a quiet but effective finish in 4th. AJ Green for Stonks Motorsports brings in the top 5. Austin Reedy in the 34. We've seen some struggles out of him early this season, but it looks like he is finally finding his consistency near the end of these events. He finishes right behind AJ Green. Craig Launslager, solid outing for the Ford Mustang in the 13. He is 7th. 8th place goes to Jesse Prees. What a run for Prees all night long. We talked about him over the course of this race, and he never left the conversation. And what a race for him and for rookie Trevor Haley, both of them making statements here at Las Vegas, and great races that they'll walk away with heading over to Talladega Superspeedway. And Jaden Porter, defending series champion, finds a way to crack into the top 10, Francisco, at the checkered flag.
Adam Alashar with a decent run here tonight will finish in the 11th spot. Colin Forster with his first finish of the season will be in the 12th spot. Wyatt Brackett with a decent run here tonight will finish in the 13th position, with Ryan Pandiscio, another rookie, in the 14th spot. TJ Bursk had a really quiet evening, Kenneth, after early contact with the wall, will finish in the 15th spot. Jeff Noe, another rookie, will finish in the 16th position. Tyler Murray down in 17th after getting a handful of top 10s to start the season. Lance Hill will finish last car on the lead lap in 18th spot, and 19th, Lawson Peel, who had that pit road penalty, was trapped the lap down after the caution, and now will end up in the 19th spot, 1 lap down. Brandon Banks, teammate in DBR, will finish in the 20th spot.
21st goes to the pole sitter Patrick Thompson. His race fell flat near the end. He is 1 lap down. Tony Kivet 1 lap down as well in 22nd. Richard Rico fell a lap down late in the going. He is 23rd. Skybox NASCAR Curtis Kelly car. And that's going to end up 24th. 25th goes to David Brackett, the first car 2 laps down. Then goes the Daniel Michel, number 25 machine, who got the outside wall late in the race, had to bring it to pit road. Travis Anderson is 27th, also 2 laps down. Brandon Gillis is 28th. Timothy Cook in 29th. And CJ Munier, the first driver 3 laps down or more, brings in the top 30. And then the final 6 drivers in our field: Tyler Warner 3 laps down. Christopher Bishop 3 laps down in 32nd. Craig Parks is 33rd. Kevin D'Elia ends up 34th. Michael Newbrough 35th. They both were involved in a crash on the front straightaway. And Mikey Neal, unfortunately, disconnects from this race rather early. And it's another poor finish for driver number 8, 36th. And the final driver here from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Let's have a chance to talk with your race winner for the first time in his 4Wide Racing TJ's Team Series career. Ethan, you are a winner, and you do it in dominant fashion in this last stint. Just give us your emotions on your first career victory and how much it means for you, especially at a track pretty not too far away from your hometown in California.
I was nervous, man. I was nervous the whole time. Everything was going well during that race. Everything kind of went my way a little bit, apart from when we were battling. But you know, I had a fun time battling Luke there at the end. It was pretty good racing there. Stayed clean. Just happened to stay in front of him when it mattered the most there, and helped me get that win there. Yeah, I really enjoyed the racing tonight.
And you know, a lot of guys, Ethan, find themselves in a situation where they're fighting a certain driver side by side for multiple laps on end. And more often than not, it's with a driver that's not their teammate. But you had the privilege of racing Luke Canup. You guys going at it with each other for so many laps on end until you finally won that fight. What was it like to be in that voice chat with Luke Canup and to be racing that hard against each other for the top spot near the end of the race?
Yeah. Nothing was really being said. It's just we were just racing pretty much, and we kind of knew that this was going to be for the win. So we were just racing hard, stay silent, and then we kind of talked about it as the battle was still going on at the end there. But yeah, we both wanted to win just as bad. Lucky to be the one on top on this one.
Wark Dynamo Designs National Series race here at Las Vegas on the Cable Racing Network. That's one of my most important memories of you racing this car at this specific track. What kind of wheelhouse do you have that these races end up falling your way, and what skill set are you able to show at your full advantage to have a race like this, long green flag runs, and you're able to beat everyone?
I can't give out any secrets, but I mean, I don't know. This track just seems to be one of my best tracks. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe I just kind of got it down here. So I'm glad to have that. I'm gonna try to keep on doing that at this track. Go try to win some more races. But yeah, this was good. Good momentum builder.
This is a big win here from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Your first career victory. And after a couple of weeks of good finishes, I'm sure it was coming your way. You were knocking on that door and you finally break free. Ethan, first of all, congratulations on the win. But before we let you go on this interview, anybody specifically you want to give a shout out to or thank for tonight's W?
Once again, I got to thank the whole team giving me a chance again. And also got to thank Luke for racing McLean there. And also, we helped each other out during that practice. We help each other a lot. Also, Porter, Mikey, all those guys, we all helped each other out. See where we were on data and all that stuff. So I appreciate them.
Well, we certainly appreciate the time, Ethan. On behalf of our broadcast team, congratulations on your first career 4Wide Racing victory, and we'll see you at the biggest and baddest track in them all, Talladega, next week. But for now, enjoy the W.
Thank you.
So Ethan Fonseca Moreno in the 43 comes away victorious. It's Eric Schaefer for the 4th week in a row ends up on the podium, and he's caught up with our very own Francisco Bacallao.
It is, but I'll get some wins this year. It's just I'm not very good at 1.5 mile tracks like this, man, where it doesn't take a whole lot of skill to drive it. But no, Talladega next week, I'm excited about that, to be out there with the boys drafting and everything with all the DVR guys. But yeah, Talladega, I'm going to try to survive it, man. ride around the back and not avoid everything I can and not go up there till at the very end, honestly.
Well, it's still a really good run for you tonight, Eric. It should give you the points lead. So we'll give you the opportunity to give the shout out to everybody who helps make this possible for your 3 team.
Yeah. Shout out to you and Francisco for putting on one hell of a broadcast like you always do, man. I really do appreciate y'all and everything that y'all do for us. Appreciate Tyler and all the admins. Huge shout out to the DVR guys, Reaper Speed Labs, Negus Paint Shop, Paul Setup Shop. And yeah, that's it, man. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you the time you take with us every week, Eric, and we hope to see you at the Talladega Super Speedway for another one. And enjoy the top 5 finish.
All right, boys. Thanks.
That's Eric Schaefer, driver of the 3, who once again comes home in the podium. It feels like he's also knocking down on that door and might get his first race win of the season. We'll talk to the driver who comes home in 3rd, and it's Luke Knupp in the number 45. And Luke, I'm sure that after last week's events at Phoenix Raceway, it was a race that got away from you, and you felt like you had to redeem yourself this time at Las Vegas. But walk us through your evening and your feelings on the 3rd place finish tonight.
I just got to do better. Man, that one was gutting. Just to lead the first 90-ish laps and then have lap cars wreck for no reason just sucks. But happy for Ethan to win, carry on the dominance of BBR this season. So that's really cool. Just pretty upset with how I ended that race. I should have done better on pit road and should have got in front of Ethan. But all in all, good points day. Move on to Talladega.
You talk about the strategy there, super long green flag runs, really only one caution to come out throughout the entire race. Was there a moment where you felt that the momentum sort of switched from your end to the other in the middle of green flag stops, or where was the turning point in this race for you?
Just when that caution came out, I saw that we only had to pit one time after that last one. I was just gonna split it in half. I was about 10 laps from pitting again, and had a 4-second gap. Like I felt like I had that one under control. And when you're the leader here, it's such a dirty air or clean air fest that you just want to be in the leader. And Ethan did everything right. He hit his last pit stop good when we were in our caution and got out ahead of me. So congrats to him. I'm super happy for him. Just unfortunate.
So a 3rd place finish here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We know that the first real chaos starts next week at Talladega Super Speedway. Your thoughts on that race and what you're going to try to do there?
I love super speedway racing, and Talladega is even more fun. So definitely gonna see what I can do there. I love controlling lanes, but it's gonna be probably a long race. So looking forward to that and see if Ethan, myself, Jaden, and the other BBR guys can try to get another win. We're looking pretty good this season.
Well, once again, a top 5 finish, a top 3 finish for you here tonight at Las Vegas. I'm sure that's going to definitely help you point standings wise. But as we move forward, and before we let you go, Luke, anybody in particular that you want to thank for tonight's 3rd place run?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, you and Francisco for being great team owners. KBRN for all you guys do for the league. Amazing broadcasts every week, and the whole BBR team. Ethan for making the scheme, and everyone else, thank you.
Well, Luke, we certainly appreciate the time. Best of luck at Talladega next week. Congratulations on the 3rd place finish.
Thanks, man.
So that's Luke Knupp. Obviously, a little disappointed with the finish tonight. Francisco, we know that obviously last week at Phoenix, he knew that he could go out and win that race, and unfortunately it didn't go his way. And tonight felt like a do or die, right? Where you come off of a race like that, you say, I have to put my foot on the field. I have to go out and win another one because I just showed the field I could dominate and almost win a race. I need to complete it this time around. Unfortunate there for Luke Knupp, but I'm sure that he'd rather have it be Ethan Fonseca and Moreno rather than anyone else because they put up a whale of a fight near the end, none of them giving an inch.
Yeah, you have to feel for Luke Knupp. He had a dominant race last week and came up a couple spots short. And the worst feeling is doing that and have the exact same thing happen the very next week. It doubles down on the initial feeling. So you feel bad for the driver of the 45, but at the end of the day, he had some really fast cars, got good results out of the days as well. He was able to get 2 top 5s in the process. and it definitely will help his point situation. You remember he missed the Auto Club race, so he's still trying to make up for those points. But that's what you like to see out of a driver, Kenneth. You want to see a driver that wants to go out there and win races. That's what these guys are out here to do, and you love to see when someone tries to do it. But these two, both of them have been very fast, Kenneth, to start this season. It's been very impressive to see, and so far, they're trying to see if they can carry this over to the middle portion of the season. So far, Bacalhau Bueno Racing, the first team to strike twice with victories at Nashville and now at Las Vegas. So we'll see just how far they can carry it through.
And both of them, two of the fastest cars in this race, and it pays off. First and third for the Bacalhau Bueno Racing teammates, and Ethan Fonseca Moreno becomes the fourth different winner over the first 4 races this season. But Luke did allude to it, Francisco, and that is his love for super speedway racing. And as we close out from Las Vegas, we head to the super speedway at Birmingham, Alabama, Talladega Super Speedway, our first real test at super speedway racing with these Xfinity Series cars. What are your thoughts on that one? I know that every time we go there, no matter what we race, it's always intense. I'm sure this one probably will be no different next Wednesday.
I agree with everything you said. I think it's going to be no different. Maybe what we'll see different is just where the lines are formed and how the momentum is created, because the next-gen cars, they have a different way about the draft than these cars do, and those were able to run the top, and you probably saw the high side be more favorable. I think with these cars, they'll be oriented towards the bottom of the racetrack, towards that double yellow line, and we'll see if a second groove forms up and tries to get up there. But who knows, Kenneth? Super speedway racing, you show up there, you run a couple green flag laps, and at the end of the day, once you get inside 5 to go, that's when everything starts to kick off. So I think if you're a driver, depending on what your situation is, if you need the points, you have to go out there and race for it. And if you're up there in the point standings, you can take it easy for the first portion of the race, take care of your car, take care of your equipment, and try and be there at the end and see if you can steal one, because that's what it's going to come down to most likely. And, well, Kenneth, we also talked about this in the pre-race, just to kind of wrap up on here. Ethan Fonseca becomes the first driver to start inside the top 20 and win the race. He started inside the top 10 tonight in the 9th spot.
Well, he breaks that streak, but for Ethan, much like Luke Canup, again, the first-time winner in this series, and first time we've seen 4 different winners over the first 4 races since Season 4, the first season with the next-gen cars. You never know what can happen at Talladega Super Speedway, and we're ready to answer all of those questions with the Xfinity Series car and the 4-wide racing field. That comes your way next Wednesday. You can tune in, same time, same place, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on the K Bueno Racing Network YouTube channel. So that would do it for us here from Las Vegas, Nevada. So for Tyler Murray and everyone at the admin team and Race Council at 4Wide, and from all of us at the K Bueno Racing Network, for Charlie Beyer, for Keelan Belsha, and for my colleague in the booth this evening, Francisco Bacalhau, my name is Kenneth Bueno, saying so long from Vegas. Congratulations to Ethan Fonseca Moreno on his first career 4-wide win. We'll see you at Talladega 1 week from tonight.